released after serving his jail term 10 years in America, and was released, and he was deported to Ghana. People from his hometown and his party people went to carry him shoulder high. A cocaine dealer. Why? Some were giving reasons that he was a philanthropist. He was using cocaine money to pay people's school fees, helping people. But we all know that it is said that good name is better than riches. But today, it is changed. You get money by hook or crook. Everybody will recognize you. Even in the church, it's happening. In the temples, it's happening. People don't care how you got the money. All they know is that you have money. When you come, you can make sure. You can pray. Do all the nasty work in the temple, in the church. Nobody cares. Why? Because you don't have money. But in the sight of God, it's not like that. So money is attractive, and God is the richest person. Nobody can compete with him. When somebody is beautiful, he's attractive. You may come from a very poor family, either a man or a woman, but if you are very handsome or beautiful, you may get a very rich person who will marry you and change your life and that of your family. So God is the most beautiful person. Nobody can compare his beauty to God. In fact, how brilliant it looks like. And millions of suns coming up together at the same time. Can you imagine the glow? It says God looks more beautiful than 1 million suns coming up together. So that makes him, Krishna, attractive. If you talk of power, he's the most powerful person. Look at all these planets that are hanging in the air. Who is holding them in place? It's him. So he's the most powerful. We throw just a little stone into the air and it falls back. But a whole planet is hanging in the sky. And he is in charge of that. Nobody has fought with God in battle and defeated him before. No one. Has it ever happened? And it can never happen. So he's the most powerful. Then there's one quality about God that even the demigods and the angels, they don't have. So when you are very handsome or beautiful, you want to associate with people of that nature. You are very beautiful. How can you have an ugly friend? Won't you feel ashamed to introduce this ugly person as my friend? But for God, there's a Christian song which says that on some said the OTA bia or the say akatia kra ho ye fechen na banyankopon ho bejo. That is him. Even though he's the most beautiful, you can be the ugliest person. When you come, he will accept you. He's the richest, yet he's the friend of the most poorest person. That makes him Krishna. So by this definition, who refuse that God should be addressed as Krishna? For every name has a meaning. Then the third name, Rama, means the reservoir of all pleasure. Is there anybody in this world who is not looking for pleasure? From the time we sleep to the time we wake, what are we looking for? Pleasure. We used to sleep on cha-cha. Some of you may not know what is cha-cha. It was sewn with a cocoa sack. Then they packed straws, a sre, inside. There was no mattress then. Cha-cha means you are one of the best people in town. So why do you want to sleep on Chacha? Because you want some happiness. But at the point we felt that Chacha was not giving us happiness. So latest foam honeymoon mattress came, and everybody's trooping the ash foam. Now we have what is called orthopedic. And only Krishna knows what is going to come after orthopedic. Because still, with all these inventions, we are not getting the pleasure we are looking for. It's like looking for water on the desert. He's the only one that gives satisfaction. Without God, you can never be satisfied. We have seen in history people who look wretched on the outside, but they are very content. Why? Because they have God. Mahamantra. His direct disciples. Some of them were government ministers. But when they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they left the government appointment and decided to become disciples of the Lord, to study the scriptures and come up with the essence to help mankind. A minister living in a palatial house, renouncing that and living under a tree and being happy. It means that now he has what gives satisfaction. So God is the only one that gives satisfaction. So when you get him, you become satisfied. Whether you have money, you don't have money, you are okay. Because we have seen many rich people who are not happy. Many. Sometimes you see them in their car, Land Cruiser, Sequoia, come to you and he tell you his problem. He say, Minyawaye, musu. Because they had wisdom. So we are going to use these three names to pray. We are taking our time to give all this understanding so we can pray from our heart. There cannot be any better prayer than praying this prayer. So many wonderful things beyond our imagination. So we're going to take about 10 minutes to pray, and after that, we will do some studies and then some questions and answers. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Adiki Jai.
So once again, I would like to welcome each and everyone to the BHAKTA class. So like we said last Sunday, we have a lot of new devotees among us. And so we felt like coming back to begin so that we can all be at the same page. So we are starting with our first textbook, which is the Beginner's Guide, a beginner's guide to Krishna consciousness. So last week we did the introduction, and so we continue from there. We have copies here. So if you don't have one yet and you need one, you can get one at 10 cedis. So Bhakta Lawson, you can take it around if anybody needs one. So if you have the book, you can open to page 1. Why practice Krishna consciousness? We'll see if we'll be able to cover 2 topics for today. So you can run up the course very fast. So page 1, why practice Krishna consciousness? We are not bodies, but spirit souls. The body is temporal, but the soul, Jiva Atma, that is the technical name or the Sanskrit word for the soul, Jiva Atma, residing in each body is eternal. Each soul has an eternal, dynamic, blissful relationship with the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Our actual life is not in this material world, but in the spiritual world with Krishna. Krishna directly presides over the spiritual world. There he is surrounded by countless loving servitors who are all completely pure devotees, perfect beings with only one desire, to please Krishna. They are totally free from mundane desires. That is lust, greed, and envy. Actually, according to Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, there are 3 gates that leads to hell. And these 3 gates are lust, greed, and envy. If you have any of these 3 in you at the time of death, you go no other place than hell. So let's continue. In the spiritual world, everything, the land, the trees, the homes, the water, is conscious and blissful. There is no sorrow, but only enjoyment. Not the stale, false enjoyment of this material world, but meaningful spiritual ecstasy in relationship with Krishna. Krishna internally performs wonderful, variegated activities with his devotees. Life there is a constant festival of singing, dancing, playing, and eating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those souls in our world, this world is like a prison house for reformatory punishment. The conditioned souls here suffer repeated birth and death in 8,400,000 species of life, influenced Maya or illusion, and insane due to false prestige. The conditioned soul imagines himself happy even when in the body of a stool-eating hog. From the topmost planet of the lowest, this world is a great ocean of distress. Krishna does not want us to rot. He is calling us to come back to the spiritual world to live happily with him forever. Those who are in taste and try to make a solution to the problem of repeated birth and death, they take up devotional service to revive their dormant Krishna consciousness and go back to Godhead. In the present age, Kali Yuga, Krishna himself taught Krishna consciousness in his most merciful incarnation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya inaugurated the Sankirtan movement, a movement centered on the congregational chanting of the holy names. Sankirtan is the simplest and most joyful process for realizing God. It is Keva Ananda Kanda, simply joyful. Krishna consciousness is not a dull, dry, ritualistic religion. Krishna consciousness means chanting the holy names, dancing in ecstasy, feasting on Krishna Prasad, associating with saintly devotees, serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his deity form, appreciating the unsurpassable beauty of the deity, understanding profound philosophy, hearing about the potencies and pastimes of Krishna, and preaching his glories. Krishna consciousness means the mood of the spiritual world. It is a life of ever-increasing pleasure, and it ultimately brings us to the point where we can